Sorry. I missed the cue, folks. Heroes and characters. We'll be right back with Zeb, Jack Rock, and Flowtown Flo.
Welcome to the Lion's Den. Grab a seat and join the conversation. Let's dive in.
Okay, let's dive in. Glad you're back with us on the Lion's Den. We are the front porch of the weekend. Got a great show coming up. Before we kick it off, we have Flowtown Flo, our special guest, going to give you the rundown in Horry County and also the PD. How about it, Flo?
Hey, 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 happy Friday, y'all.
Happy Friday.
Let's kick this off with some Florence After 5 with the Blackwater Band downtown on Dargan Street, 5:30 to 8:30. Immediately following, DJ Voodoo Child will be in the plaza behind Victor's from 8 to 10. Then, a little further down, we got some more live music with Analog Saints in the Renaissance Dining Courtyard behind Holy Smoking, and that's 8 to 10. Then moving on to Saturday, we have the City Center Farmers Market, which is every Saturday, 9 to 1, downtown Florence. And then we're going to have the PD State Farmers Market Watermelon Festival, 10 to 3. They're going to have activities and food trucks over there at the PD State Farmers Market. So y'all be sure and catch that one. Then on Sunday, we're going to have some live music by Cole Davis at Holy Smoking from noon to 3. And now I'm going to take you a little bit out of Florence. Saturday in Conway, we're going to have the Conway River Fest. 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. They're going to be a parade, entertainment, events. And at 9:30, they're going to have a big fireworks show. So that's going to be happening in Conway tomorrow.
That's a big thing, the Riverfest.
Yeah. And then Saturday and Sunday, Sullivan's Island's going to celebrate Carolina Day, and that commemorates the Battle of Sullivan's Island. So it's 2 days of events, Saturday and Sunday. So y'all got a lot to do, but start it off tonight at Florence After 5, and then, hit that Watermelon Festival, head over to Conway, and then end it up there over in Sullivan's Island.
Good deal. That's a lot on tap for this weekend.
Yeah.
That Riverfest is a big thing down in Conway.
Places. Yeah, that Riverfest is a great big deal. So y'all, if y'all have never been, y'all need to go try it.
Hey, appreciate you joining in, Flo.
All right. Bye, guys.
Catch you next time. All right, guys. Here we are back after taking last week off, and old Jack Rock shows up, and I wish you could have been a part of the conversation prior to coming on, because he's got him a fancy shirt over there that buttons up with the left side of the buttons. And what do you call that, Zeb? What is that? He called it a shirt. You called it a what?
Yeah, he was asking. Jack was asking. Is it not like a baseball glove where you can buy a left-handed baseball glove if you're left-handed? Man, I said, Jack, no. It's called a blouse. It's a blouse, Jack. It's a blouse.
I got out the women's department at the Goodwill store.
Yeah, that's what I said. I always knew that women's shirts were button up left-handed. You asked the men, if you're left-handed, can you buy a left-handed shirt? No, but Zim said, no, that's
never heard that before, had you?
What?
A left-handed button shirt.
No, I knew what it was.
Left-handed shirt.
It's a woman's shirt. Like he said, that's why I got so tickled. Zeb said it's called a blouse.
Well, I don't feel like it's a woman's shirt.
You're not showing your muscles off today.
Well, you were over there flexing. You got me drowned out over here.
Hey, guys, glad to have you back. We took last week off. It was good to reunite with my buddies, and we're going to kick people's weekend off. We're going to talk a little bit about heroes and characters today, and we all know a lot of them. A couple of them might be up here on this panel today. But before we do that, we had started off a tradition called our 2-minute rants or advice or whatever you want to call it. So let's give Zeb an opportunity to think of his.
Again.
I know you're prepared, Jack Rock. Hit us with 2 minutes.
You want me to go first?
Go, have at it, buddy.
Button.
Here's my rant. Us poor people, well, let's go ahead and throw ourselves in the middle class, okay? Most of us watching and in this thing are middle class people. All right, we're always complaining about poor and broke, and we have it tough. But what is the advantages of being poor? You ever thought about it? Or being in the middle class? You ever thought about it? What kind of advantage? Listen, you think anybody's going to kidnap me? Ain't nobody going to kidnap me, cuz.
That ain't because you're poor, though. I got nothing to do with it.
Boy, there's a lot of advantage. There's no guilt comes with being poor. There's a guilt feeling comes with being wealthy. You know, you don't realize it, but it does come. One of the best things that has ever happened to a poor person is to keep you close to God. Did you know the scripture says that's where he gets his number from? From the poor people. He gets his number from the poor people. Something I always thought about. I don't do a lot of traveling. I ain't dying in no plane crash. I ain't going to Israel because I can't get there because I ain't got enough money to fly with. And I ain't getting in no plane crash. Poor people don't get in plane crashes. Yeah, you ain't never heard tell of a real poor person dying in a plane crash. There ain't nobody gonna get jealous of you. There ain't nobody getting jealous of a poor person. And you'll know when you become wealthy and well-to-do and famous because you're going to have haters. Ain't nobody hating you while you poor because you're right there with them. You ain't going to the doctor much either. I asked my son why come so many people that go to the doctors are sick when they're supposed to be healthy much as they go to the doctor. He said, Jack, insurance, people like you that can't afford insurance don't go to the doctor. When I was poor growing up, nobody went to the doctor because you didn't have no insurance. You couldn't pay the doctor. I can remember when our parents used to carry chickens or a hog to the doctor.
Trade.
And trade. You ever heard tell of that?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Poor people got good legs.
Can't wait to hear this one.
Poor people got good legs because they walk a lot. I'm telling you, bicycles. I'm telling you, go to some second and third world countries and see how many crippled people you see, unless they were born crippled. You ain't seen a wheelchair in Africa in your lifetime. They walking or jogging or run. They win all the marathons running. I'll use two names that come to my mind that made $1 billion, close to $1 billion a piece in boxing. Boxing's my favorite sport. Always has been. Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather. I seen the other day on the news where Floyd Mayweather owes the IRS right now, I think it's $17 million, and he was worth hundreds of millions of dollars not many years ago, making it rain in Everett with $100 bills every juke joint he went into. Mike Tyson, always remember this. The scripture says, good times and bad times, they both shall pass. They both shall pass. And I ain't through, but my 2 minutes is up, I heard.
Well, I tell you, that's a great perspective, though. I particularly like that poor people got nice legs. That's a pretty good perspective, Jack, right?
Poor people got nice legs.
So I'll go. We'll give Zeb a little more chance to get his thoughts together. And mine's simply this, and this goes out really to a little bit more of the younger generation. It's a very simple message. Don't let anybody ever steal your light. I learned that kind of at a late age. I'd say in my 30s. It's when I had She Magazine. And I was kind of a frugal guy. And one way that I saved money is I delivered all those magazines myself. I had one guy that helped me a little bit, but it took me 2.5 days to deliver these magazines. There were thousands upon thousands. We had hundreds of delivery points. And everywhere I go, that's where I really got to know a lot of people in Florence, because I'd go in and drop off the magazines. They were happy to get them. So I'd strike up a quick little conversation. And I did that everywhere I went, made a lot of friends. Well, there's just one particular stop that I'd go in time after time after time. And those folks, I'd drop off the magazine, they wouldn't say anything. I mean, even had a kind of a sour look on their face. And so after a year or two of doing that, this one particular place, I said, I'm going in there this time and I'm not even going to give them a greeting. I'm going to drop the magazines off and I'm going to hit the road. So I did that. When I was walking out, this was in a medical complex. Somebody yelled at me down the hall, Rodney. Didn't even know they knew my name, but it was a lady, the reception up there. She says, come on back in. And I walked back in. She said, what was wrong today? And they had me a cupcake. They all wanted to give me a cupcake. I said, nothing. I just kind of make up a story. I said, yeah, there was nothing wrong. I just had something on my mind. I said, well, you always come in here. We always look forward to seeing you. You brighten up our day. And we knew something was wrong with you. And what I'd done, I'd allowed somebody else's attitude to dim my light. And I just misread the whole scenario, the whole environment. So never let anybody dim your light, no matter what the circumstance in front of you. Just keep on getting it. Part two, and this is really even quicker. Chase the dream and not the money. And that's, I've worked the first 2 years when I got off to college, the only work I've ever done. After that, I hadn't worked in 30 years. I've loved what I've done. I've never chased the money. I've chased the dream. I've chased the thought of making something successful. And here's what happens. The money follows. It always follows. A dead man's coffin or urn doesn't weigh any more than your poor people's coffin or urn. All right, Zeb, it's on you, buddy.
That's it. All right, let's see. Oh, I got to figure out where the buttons are. I'm slow on the buttons today. My hair's all over the place. We've been working hard today. I had a little bit of that, I'm not going to call it poor person energy that Jack was talking about, but we were picking up heavy things and dirty things and being dirty this morning. That being said, I do want to kind of tag along a little bit on the back of, kind of where Jack's at, and not talk about, the poor aspect of it, but we're going to get there. But before we do, some of y'all may know in Facebook land, what you call it. Jack's he's a son of a senator. I know that silver spoon in his mouth is kind of keeping him poor is what it. I'm just kidding. We're taking shots at Jack. We got a lot to talk today. We are going to get into some of the races, political races, but my rant, whatever's left of it, a minute and a half, is that the destruction of the middle class is an inevitability of the capitalistic system. And so this comparison that Jack was making between poor and rich is going to become more and more evident as time goes on. And I think we're kind of at that precipice where the this idea of free trade was fantastic as long as it was contained within a nation. But this globalistic idea where Americans are having to compete with literally the rest of the world, not even just in America, meaning the rest of the world in America as we import them, but we're having to compete with outsourced everything. We can look at things like NAFTA. NAFTA was just the very, very front end of a lot of this. And now as soon as the .com bubble blew up and everything become digitized, and then there's no geographical positioning to separate everyone, and everything's electronic and runs through wires. And so you have to compete on a worldwide basis, and this idea of the American dream is now destroyed because everyone can compete for that same American dream, and therefore it is no longer an American dream, that being the middle class. And so if there is no American dream to chase, with that being the middle class, then the middle class is going to die inevitably. And we're seeing this if you look at it, basically any statistics across the board. It is becoming a wider and wider gap. I would chalk a lot of this up to welfare system and what comes along with that. And then also on the top end, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. This is a common saying, but it is simply true in a capitalistic system that is not regulated by people intelligent enough to run it and create it to start with. And then we can get into the competence crisis, but that's 2 minutes.
I tell you, nobody cannot say the Lion's Den's not versatile. We had 3 great words across the board there, I believe. Congratulations, Ed.
Little educational commentary there for a second.
I believe you spit that out before. I don't think that just came.
I'm getting the Einstein, getting a little thought going on. Now maybe I need to leave the hair alone.
So, guys, before we get on our topic today, let's venture in a little bit. I don't know about you guys, but I truly had political fatigue this time around. It seems like this year's political season just went on and on and on. But
It ain't over yet.
no, well, it's not over, and there's a lot to happen.
It's
between here and
halftime.
there. Well, I'd say it's a little better than halftime because Republicans going in should now dominate
At
the
least
field.
in
But there's
South
a lot of different things that could happen. A lot
Well,
of
at
different-
least in South Carolina, I think it's kind of over in South Carolina. The primary.
And
Red,
let-
South Carolina's red.
unless so you hear all this. Some of the commentary I saw right after the race, a lot of people, excuse my language, were butthurt. And truly, a Democrat could get in there if these folks don't come together. I saw a lot of folks saying, "Well, look, I can't support this candidate that won." I mean, again, they were butthurt about the whole thing. And here's one word that I don't like, and it drives me nuts. And we talked about it before, Zeb. Rhino. And I think the description of a rhino, whoever's calling somebody a rhino, is if that other Republican just thinks a little less about a issue than you do, then they label them a rhino. And I seen that.
What's the definition of rhino?
That's a good question, Jack. That's a perfect question.
Because I have no idea when they talk about a rhino.
Republican by name only is what.
It stands for Republican in name only.
Yeah.
The answer to your question is whoever is saying it gets to define what it is. So I can call
put it a lot
Rodney
better than I did.
I could call Rodney a rhino, and Rodney can go, "You're a rhino."
Yeah.
What does it even mean? It has no meaning anymore. It's like this conversation between MAGA and America First and everything that goes along with it. We're in a rhetoric war is what we're in. It's this weaponization of language against each other. And so we use words that we associate with the positive and negative attributes.
You know who started
And
that?
it damages the party, though. I don't want to miss the point here. It damages the party. And again, to his point, he put it a lot better than I did. It's anybody that's got a little different thought than you do on a subject matter. I want to, for instance, one person, he's a friend of mine. He says, "Well, I'm going to vote Democrat this time." Well, here's what I'm going to suggest to you. That's the only time you can use the word rhino. It's like I've been a Redskin fan all my life. Did I jump ship when Doug Williams, a black quarterback who won the Super Bowl, did I jump ship because I didn't like the quarterback of my favorite team? No, because I'm a Redskin fan. You're either a Republican or you're not. And the depth is up to you. I'm not going to call you a rhino because your belief is just a little bit below mine.
Were you a Washington Commanders fan?
No, I'm still a Redskin fan. I've never left the Redskins. That answers your question. We can go deeper with that, couldn't we?
Yeah. Go
You
for
were
it.
making a point, Jack.
Who started this vocabulary change and naming? I remember the first time I ever heard anybody take the vocabulary and tear it all to pieces. When they had
Barry Goldwater.
Bill
Dang.
Clinton before the Congress,
Oh,
and he said, ain't is no more.
yeah, it depends on
He
what it
messed
is,
up
yes.
that started this whole rhino thing.
Yeah.
The English language don't mean what it used to mean before
Right.
he came out with ain't is no more.
Right. But to my point, though, whether you like Alan Wilson or not, I was a fan. I'm a big fan of Mike Rickenbach, and I thought they were the best. He had a long record to have to stand on, and that cuts both ways when you're in combat. Sometimes it works for you because you've done a lot with folks, but sometimes you've had to rule on things that you didn't agree with. One out of thousands of things. You can't take one issue and turn on a person because it touched you differently. And of course, they try to use that over and over and over. So we've got to unite. Is there a pathway for a Democrat to win? There could be unusual circumstances depending on how motivated people are, and if these folks don't come together. Had Pam won, I'd been on board because I believe in a majority of what the Republicans believe in. So I would have jumped on board on that.
Question. What year? Come on, boys, give me a break. I won't know if I don't ask.
Go for it.
What year was the last Democrat governor elected in the state of South Carolina?
Well, that was Hodges. I don't remember the year, but that was Hodges.
How did he win?
It was because of video poker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he won on the poker thing.
Yeah,
that carried him
and,
across.
that was a big, and that people were, to my point, they were highly motivated, and even others on the Republican side had a lot to gain, so they did switch. Barring an issue, Republicans should maintain the. However, it's really just a title holder. I mean, our legislator has all the power in the South Carolina system. They do all these appointments, so it's not a big position, but it is an important position. And I'm tickled to death that Allen and Mike Rickenbach are the ones that were getting behind.
Didn't you have that feeling the whole time that they were going to win when they put up?
Well, I did initially. And then, Zeb's going to bite at the chomp at this. But then when Trump made his endorsement, I said, whoa, even though, that endorsement, we had Lee Ford on here, and Lee Ford didn't raise a lot of money. Now, he had a name behind him, Danny Ford. And I actually like Lee quite a bit. I've enjoyed talking to him over time. But, Cody got Simpson, who eventually won, great guy. We all consider him a local around here. But he got that endorsement from the governor, and also the president. And yet they were literally tied in the primary. So I think some of that endorsement, some of the sting has been taken out of that endorsement. And then when he endorsed Pamela, most people thought that was going to be the runaway thing. Well, she didn't pull out that far ahead. And then it was he came back and did that double endorsement, which was made everything null. I mean, who ever heard such a thing, right? I mean, I even got a problem with that. I'm glad he did, because my candidate came out on top. But I mean, that didn't say a lot,
Do you remember weeks ago you asked me, we were talking about politics like this and the ones running and all, and you asked me how did I feel about the governor's race? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I know nothing about anybody running for any office this time, if you remember. And I said, but this guy named Rickenbach and Wilson, it's got a ring to it. Do you remember me saying that? And sometimes names have a ring to it, and it'll just draw people, just a ring of the name.
Yeah. Well, none more so than the Danny Ford name. Maybe not the ring, but the recognition of the Ford name really got a lot of votes. Zeb, you're big on this politics. Let's kind of break. We'll go quickly through the races. The AG race, for instance, a lot of people don't have interest in that. I mean, you can't even right now. You can't even tell me who ran for the attorney general, can you?
Yes or no? I couldn't call a name.
No. That one we'll skip that one, because it didn't pay a lot of relevance.
Well,
I guess the abundance of people.
The only tag on that one would probably be that Pascal was a Democrat running as a Republican, essentially, or at least that was a claim against him, and he's a lifelong Democrat that has transitioned to Republican, like many people have in the last decade or so. I mean, virtually the entire Trump administration is that thing. So. When we talk about Republican in name only, and you ask what does it mean, I don't think it means anything anymore.
Yeah, well, that one got kind of smoked out pretty quickly there.
He still ran though. I mean, but to the point, I mean, it was ended up being a runoff between Goldfinch and Stumbo. Wow, blank on that.
Stumbo had roots in Marion County, so I'm told. I didn't know that, but he had roots in Marion County. But it's funny because those that led the ticket in the primary, all but the ag commissioner Cody, they lost. Pamela led in the primary, Goldfinch led in the primary, and then you saw what happened in the governor's race. I mean, it was a whitewash. I mean, just wiped her out, and Stumbo won by a pretty commanding lead also in the AG race. What do you think? Let me ask Zeb first. What do you think changed the whole dynamic of that governor's race?
Between the runoff and the primary, I don't think anything changed.
Well, it had to, because Pamela was large.
We're talking about 30% of 60.
Yeah,
that's what he's talking about. That's such a big change.
Pamela gained 4%. She got her votes. She got her votes in the primary. She got her votes in the runoff. I don't think there was an issue there.
So they went from the
You're looking at it wrong.
was 68%. She went by. There was a lot that happened.
Pamela was at 29%, and then she got 31%.
She led the yeah.
You say she led the ticket. She didn't lead the ticket.
In the primary, she led the ticket.
Technically, she did, but that you're thinking about the politic of it wrong. It's not that people were voting for Pamela Evatt or for Alan Wilson necessarily. They were voting against the thing that exists. It's an establishment vote. It's the same reason Trump won in 2016.
So you misunderstand my question. Something happened for Alan Wilson to come out with those big numbers.
I don't think so.
Could it been that he aligned better with the other candidates? I mean, we're trying to break. We're breaking it.
Well,
down.
sure. By extension of what I'm saying is that the established people are voting against the thing that already exists that isn't doing what they want it to do, and so they just want something different.
So a lot of people would say that Alan Wilson wasn't different because he's part of the establishment. So they made an appeal there.
He was the least establishment in the runoff.
Somebody that's been in the attorney general office for how long?
Against the lieutenant governor, endorsed by the governor and the president.
12 years. His daddy is a congressman.
I'm not arguing that he's not a politician.
He was labeled the establishment.
In less than Pamela Evatt. Pamela Evatt's being endorsed by the governor, the current governor. She is lieutenant governor. Her running mate is the son of the governor and endorsed by the president of the United States.
That wasn't a runner. It never was it named a running mate. I mean, there's so many talks about that.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, let's boil it down to this.
I mean, she actually, she named 8 or 9 people as possible running mates, and I think that was a big issue there as well.
Let's boil it down to
got
this.
Absolutely obliterated on that point when it came out because it got leaked,
and should have,
and that's why she never announced a running mate,
and should have. Well, I would say it was more.
Where are we missing each other here?
I don't know. We are missing each other. I would say that naming those 8 or 9 people, I think was really and look, she's a fine person, but I thought it was really a cheap ploy because what do? You hang on to that money. You hang on to their supporters. I just thought I think most people saw that really as a cheap ploy. And I think the indecisiveness of her with that and other things really cost her in the race.
Could you boil it down to this? That in politics, you really just can't never tell.
You can't. You can't. I mean, there's a few of them out there that do pretty good in their predictions.
But this was not a shocker to me. And I didn't keep up with the race real close.
By the spread, the spread didn't.
It didn't surprise me a bit.
Yeah, surprised me.
That ring, and what it was really that really tapped that many people to change their vote from X to Y, it bumfuzzles me.
Do you think it had anything to do with her not being a lifetime South Carolinian? Either one of y'all think that had a play role?
Throw that up.
Well, absolutely.
In a nice way. Do you remember that?
I was there. Zev and I was sat together.
In a nice way. Yeah. Oh, she did say she weren't from South Carolina.
But, there was a little bit of momentum from some of these folks that, have come into our state that I saw them on social media. Well, I wasn't born here either. Does that mean you don't want me?
Yes.
So, you have to be careful. It cuts both ways, right?
Yes.
You really just don't never know. You just don't never.
So I will say, fair or not, most South Carolinians want somebody that's was raised here and have established themselves, broke their back in South Carolina.
Here's what
people want that.
It only makes sense.
I can't say that I don't want that. I thought about that. In Dillon, my childhood house that I grew up in, and I was there, until college and moved on, right? I ride by there sometime when I'm in Dillon, and I look at that house, and look, I don't care who's in that house. That's really still my house. Yeah. I got more claim to.
Well, let me
carry the mortgage on it. I feel like I got more claim to the house.
Let me ask you this.
Excuse me.
Should they that come here also not want someone from here to run the state?
Didn't think about that, Zeb. That's not. It's hard.
Is it not? hypocritical of them to try to take over invasion from the north, if you want to, in this aspect, but in general, just the theoretical concept of flooding into a place and then controlling the politic of the thing.
So I think that's very sensitive, and I think most South Carolinas feel that way, you know. And for you, I know it's even deeper because you're thinking about USA. I know how you feel about
just anywhere.
coming in.
Just anywhere.
So on a little smaller level, we're talking about South Carolina now. Fair, you know. I certainly don't want to alienate those that come in, but I think a lot of people.
The biggest thing I hear at the beach from people discussing anything about the population, whatever, is these Yankees moving in down here trying to take over. That's right. And I know it's statewide,
right?
Because you can come to Florence and hear the same thing. You know,
well, it's more prevalent down on the coast.
Oh yeah, it's
because of the numbers.
Oh yes, general conversation down there.
Yeah. So I've got some good ones now, and some of them absolutely add to our value. But for me, if I'm to be honest, and if I'd be bold with my statement, I absolutely would prefer the born and bred South Carolinian to run this state.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll move on. We probably had Chad Jones is there.
What do you say?
Chad, you're not from South Carolina? Sorry, man. I thought you're from North Carolina. I can't remember. He's a pastor over in the Atlanta area. He's on city council.
Ted Cruz.
Chad Jones. Ted Cruz.
No, I'm talking about
Ted Cruz.
Chad Jones talking about Ted Cruz.
Well, he was in Sumter with Wilson. He came down.
Who is Ted Cruz?
Senator from Texas.
Senator. Yeah. Very popular senator.
Oh, really?
National
I've never
senator.
heard tell that.
Yeah, well, you're
he's Canadian.
You're telling our folks something
Canadian.
Now. Yeah.
Guys, let's move on. All right?
Ted Cruz Canadian?
I don't think so.
Hold on. I'm about to pull that one.
While he's doing that, let's pivot on to our topic of the day, because we can sit here and talk about politics all day long. There's no question about it.
Let me say one thing. Before. Chad Jones reminded me, reading that first part of the sentence.
Ted Cruz was born in Alberta, Canada.
Okay, well, you knew that. How about that?
Chad Jones reminded me of what my daddy told me. I know that that's our topic today is our daddy.
Yeah, well, you can
but
lead
daddy
into
used to tell me, and Chad reminded me of it, don't never be with the loser, son.
Well, that
you always voted for the winner.
Well, that was the point I was going to make, and I talked to Rodney on the phone the other day about it. And it's like we were talking about this double endorsement by Donald Trump, and obviously he had made some deals on the back end to endorse Pamela throughout the race, and so instead of unendorsing, so to keep his word, he just double endorsed. And so this is what Trump does, and maybe this is news to some of you people out there, but he doesn't always endorse a candidate even most aligns with him. Or is the most Republican. He endorses the person that wins. And Donald Trump has said this before, and maybe it resonates a little bit more now than it has in the past. Donald Trump says that he likes to surround himself with losers because it makes him feel like a winner.
so I think that double endorsement was definitely a blemish on his record. I think it opened some people's
You know
eyes.
what you remind me of? I've been last for so long, I thought I was first. I killed me.
Okay, guys, let's pivot to our topic of the day. Now we're a week late, but it doesn't matter. Heroes exist. We all need.
Blame me.
We all need heroes. Not at all. Not at all. We all got pretty busy. I know you got busy last week, and I think Jack Rock appreciated the time off last week. Last week was Father's Day, and this topic resembles it, but we want to talk about heroes, and what comes to mind right away are dads in terms of heroes. Before we get started, though, there's a little clip that I sent, and this is the state of where we're at now.
I don't have it. Not
okay.
a clip. Oh, is this it?
Yeah, that's it. I want to show you, and we'll go through some of these if it pulls up. But this is the sad status of today's environment. If it don't pull up, I can remember.
It's not. It's a Google link.
So
what were you looking at?
The father absent statistics.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think only about a fourth of the fathers are in the house, and there's some alarming statistics when the father's not in the house, when the hero is absent from the family. If it don't come up, I can add up on some of this.
They should be able to see most of it. Go ahead.
Okay. we had let's see.
What?
It just talks about some of the statistics. I mean, the amount of, without a father, the amount of kids that grow up in poverty is just.
Well, you can get an AI answer
Okay,
here.
that's it right there. That's it. No, that's poverty and economic hardships. 4 times greater. You can leave that up, Zeb, if you're able
Go for
to. Okay. Let's see where I'm at up top. Yeah, that's
Poverty risk. Children in father-absent homes face up to 4 times greater risk of growing up in poverty compared to those in actively involved father homes. One analysis indicates that children raised without a biological father make them, on average, 26% less annually as adults. I read that wrong.
food security. I mean, on and on. You can see this behavior. I mean, juvenile delinquency, school discipline, likely to be on drugs. I mean, the list goes on. Teen pregnancy. This is what happens when fathers are not in home. When these people don't have when children don't have a hero to embrace. That's why I applaud both of you. Both of you have stayed in a marriage. Zeb's raising kids right now. You've raised a whole crop of youngins, and they're all the better for it. And some of these folks simply don't have heroes. So let's shift a little bit. We'll talk a little bit. Let's start off with a funny story. Zeb told this before, but we've probably got people on this time that wasn't on last time. We all know. Do you have a picture of your dad?
I do. Let me throw it.
So I know
Current
Zeb.
picture, old picture.
Any picture. I know Zeb's dead personally.
Here's let me see.
Is that, I saw that the whole time. Is that him?
That's him.
Love
That's
it
Daddy.
all.
That's Daddy from back in the day.
Put it back up there where I can see.
Hold on,
Scruffing young man.
There you
Had hair. Everything.
A little bit. Well, he had hair. I'll tell that story too. How he went bald.
Okay.
But that's Daddy. And well, I'll tell you a story of when bald, and we can dive into
Yeah, shoot, man.
There's somebody else we were talking about bringing up, and it'll run right into that story. But so Daddy had a lot of hair, as you can see. He had one of these too. I think they called it a PhD back in the day.
We can't say your daddy's a hero of yours, right?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think most people that have
Would be their dad.
that would consider good fathers, that they are their hero, and absolutely it is. And I had a very, very blessed childhood. You get a little preface here. My father, his dad, and I got a picture of them here in a second, but wasn't really around so much when he was younger. So I guess he was kind of learning on the fly a little bit more, and I was able to take away for my children, but he did what he could as a father, and I think he did a very, very fantastic job. And I don't know if I've said this before, but I've apologized to him many, many times. As that picture I just showed real briefly a second ago was, I got 3 younger brothers, Rodney, and I got 2 sons right now. I don't know what I would do if I had 2 more. I would lose it. It is a lot. Jack, I know you got a couple, but it's a lot. I applaud anybody pushing, more than 2 for sure. But that being said, is Daddy had a lot of hair, had nice hair. I got decent hair. It's all over the place right now. But he we shaved it off. We shaved it off, and I'll tell you who we is in a second. So we did high school. I told a high school story not too long ago about Daddy ripping his shirt off, buttons flying everywhere. He had it tied up like Jack does at football practice after he ripped the shirt in half. Show me tied up shirt real quick, Jack.
But your daddy wasn't wearing a
It's all tied
blouse.
up.
Was your daddy wearing a blouse?
It was a blouse after he ripped all the buttons off of it.
On the left side or the right side?
They weren't any on the shirt anymore. But yeah, so high school football practice, and we had fantastic Coach Kelly was there. Absolutely fantastic. He would probably be on this list of heroes and characters. Another one that helped.
First business party.
Okay. And another one that would be on that list would be Bull Lee was helping coach that year.
Yeah, we'll get to him.
Our junior year. And, the goal was to obviously win a state championship. We win a state championship. And the thing that kept, a lot of stuff was pushing us, but Daddy made the statement. I don't know. He made it somewhere. He'll shave his head if we win a state championship, kind of an offhanded toss away. And so we go throughout the year and we're winning. We're crushing people. I think we lose one game to Lakeview throughout the season. We get to the state game and we win. It was fairly easily, but at the end of it, and I have a video of it actually. I could probably pull that up too, of us shaving his head. After our first state championship, And so I say the first state championship because we go back and we win the second, we get a second state championship, but Bull Lee had passed away in between those seasons. He always said that first year that it don't count. It don't count unless you do it back to back. And so that's what we had going in our second year was Bull Lee kind of bringing us on. We had Daddy talking about he was gonna shave his head at the end of the season if we won state championship. And so all of this stacked on top of each other, we were pushing to come over, overcome this great mountain of winning a state championship between everybody and all these heroes and characters pushing us along the way. But that's a story. I'm gonna get this pulled up and we can watch it, but you take it for like 2 seconds.
Okay. So Jack Rock, let's lead into you now. People find this very interesting about you. I was in the county office last week and I had a councilman showing somebody else a picture of you now and back then. You were all groomed when you were a county councilman. But let's talk about your dad for a minute. He was a state senator there in Lakeview. Any particular story come to mind? I know he's your hero because you talk about him often. Just pause it if you got it. I want to see that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack Rock.
My father and I had a great, great relationship. All the old people back in my day, in my daddy's day, compared him to Will Rogers. Always a dry wit. And that's what he was noted for on the stumps when he had the stump speakers. He weren't nothing but a comedian. Always figured in my mind that he was more of a comedian than he was a politician, because he could really entertain a crowd. He could make them roll, son. I remember my first stump speaking I went to with him. He carried me in 1958 to the schoolhouse at Lakeview. And it was the auditorium was full of people. And it weren't nothing but full of laughter the whole time. My daddy kept them rolling. And my daddy used to sit on the front porch all the time, read, and I'd show up about every day, and we'd sit for a few minutes and talk. But he always had something wise to tell me before I left. Always something that would help me in life. And he was a education fanatic, even though he didn't have no more than a high school education. He wanted all his kids and grandkids to have education. So anyway, I went off to business college for a while, and I didn't like it. College ain't cut out for everybody. I look like a billy goat sitting up in class. And I come home, I told Daddy, I said, I ain't going back. I'll just have to pay that note off at Anderson Bank. There used to be Anderson Bank at Dillonside Railroad track. Remember that?
Oh.
Yeah, where your office is used to be Anderson Bank, not Anderson Brothers.
First Citizen Bank used to be where my office is at.
It was Anderson Bank before
First Citizens?
Yes.
Okay. I see.
Anderson Bank. I even remember who the president of it was, and he went to jail.
Okay.
Yeah, for fraud. And anyway, he would always advise me of all kind of everything. And I won't never forget when I come home and I told him, I said, Daddy, I ain't going back to school. It just ain't for me. I said, I'll just get me a job and go to work. He said, well, great. Just go ahead and make a son of a bitch out of yourself.
That one caught me off guard.
So I'll let y'all take back over.
Do you think you think you're a lot like your daddy? Do you think you've morphed into? Because a lot of times we morph into our.
Well, he said a trend for me. We'll put it this way, because I've always thought about this. Because I never wondered where my word. I always wondered where my words come from.
I wonder
when
too.
the political powers to be come to me and made offers to me when I was a young person, and I really weren't saying that, but it was what my daddy would have said.
Gotcha.
And he had a bearing on me of not giving in to the establishment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it kept me out of the penitentiary.
Well, keep thinking about more father's stories about your dad. And I think Zeb's found a clip of the head shaving.
I got a clip, but I want to sit on that question that you asked Jack just a second ago. Was you know, are you like your father, or however you worded it? And you know, I want to take the liberty to answer this question, and I would say a lot. And you know, I think about it, and you know, all of my brothers are different. I'm different than Ben, and Ben's different than Jake. Jake's different than Caleb. But if you take them and you look at, you know, you look at Daddy and you look at Mama, really, we call him D-Daddy, Cool Ray. People out there might know him in TV land. But him and then Daddy's daddy, and take some combination of those, and you'll get all four of us in some aspect. And so it's so
just
much
branched
man,
off.
so
All
much.
the personalities just branched off.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We just it tends one way or the other, and yeah, I would say I'm definitely. I think on my Twitter, the pinned tweet is "I am my father's son" is something like that. But absolutely,
Mercedes,
absolutely.
And Jimmy Ford remembers when your dad got shaved. So we're getting ready to see it right now. I think, right? You got
we got all of it on film. I have all of our game film from our state championships and everything on my YouTube. But let's take a look at this real quick. Ronnie, you knew him back when he had a little bit of hair,
Sure
didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew you did.
Well, let's see what we got here. I'm gonna let it play from the beginning. I got the audio off.
Missing, travel different, no control. Yeah, time to listen.
That's Trent Johnson.
This is immediately after the game. Like
Okay.
immediately after the game. We
I
pull
just
out
saw
the
it.
Clippers.
And I saw
We still
Trent
got
Johnson.
pads on.
Okay.
Keep it close.
Middle of the
My
field.
description.
I don't know, it might not
Highly
be in the
gifted,
middle,
take
but-
some notes. Yeah, lack of interest.
Did you-
Why'd
was
you
the-
visit?
was
Hit
the,
road.
razor in
Yeah,
your
kinda
hand at
twisted.
some point?
So keep
Oh,
your
for
distance,
sure.
be a ghost. Yeah, see, I'm invented.
See, everybody
I
got.
wanted to see more. That's it. I want to see more.
It's probably somewhere, but I mean
that's
that's
good, though.
that's it, man.
Lack
It's
of interest. Why'd you visit?
Ronnie, it's back in 08. We didn't have iPhones back then. Maybe
Okay.
yet, I don't know.
Hit the
We had like iPhone 1.
Yeah,
That's what we
okay.
had.
Yeah,
It
kinda
is-
twisted. So
Well,
Ronnie
he
over
lived
here,
up to his
Ronnie over here
word.
wants 4K.
Yeah.
Ronnie over here wants Lord.
We,
Ronnie over here wants 4K answers from
well, your
everybody.
daddy lived up to his word, and that's who he is. He is a man of his word. Now you mentioned, I'll talk
And
about
he never grew it back. He can grow his hair back, but he
really?
keeps it shaved.
Yeah, because when we met him outdoors about 3 weeks ago, when he was out front, you know, he had it all slick back for sure.
Back. Yep.
Pull it up for Bull Lee. You mentioned something about Bull Lee, and I'll say something about him before I talk about my dad. Bull Lee was one of my heroes. Here's a
What
picture
am I
of him.
pulling up? Oh,
Just that picture of Bull Lee.
go ahead. Keep talking.
Bull Lee, you know, he's famous in our parts. He was big in FCA, but this man right here, he had coached football forever. He was an All-American at
He
Newberry.
went to college where you went to college?
No, I went to PC. He went to Newberry.
Okay.
Yeah, I started to go to Newberry, and he was really taught me in going there several times. But he had such an impact on so many lives. You know, he was big in FCA, and you know, I knew the Lord, but he certainly pounded it in my head. But I learned one of my biggest lessons from Coach Lee when I was in the 8th grade. We had a junior high school team, and like, you know, Dillon is a tradition of football. To your point, Zeb, we were junior high and we were playing junior varsity teams, and we were beating everybody 60-0. I mean, every week we were that dominant. And I'll never forget halftime at one of our games. We were up like 38-0, right? And so we come back out, and I was ready to go. You know, I just love football, right? And he said, second team. I said, what? I picked my helmet off and I threw it down, and that's the worst thing I could ever done. Coach Bull Lee, listen now, before we even kicked the ball off for the second half, he saw me do that. He called a timeout. You couldn't even really call a timeout because we ain't got started. He started dressing me up. Son, who do you think you are? Go pick up that helmet. You go sit down there, and don't you never come back here again until you realize what you've done. He said that in front of everybody. And, you know, my whole point was, you know what? Oh, here's what I said. I said, well, we practiced all week. What do you think these other kids did? You don't think they were there practicing with you? You think and here's what he said to me, I'll never forget. You will never do anything for the game of football, but the things that the game of football will do for you are unlimited. You know, and I carried that
He
with me.
was glad you did that.
Well, no,
He was tickled you
well, no,
did
he
it.
made a point, but I disappointed him. I had my number retired in junior high school, and I guess I was
He
kind of
preached a sermon off of
he
you.
did, but he shouldn't have done that. But it was a life lesson. I live by now. We is greater than me, and that's where I got that from. That taught me a lesson beyond anything else. I apologize, and I was back at practice Monday, but I'll never forget that lesson from Bull Lee. Another quick lesson, because y'all know Bull Lee. How did he get his name? This is the legend that a bull did something, got him mad, and he forearmed the bull and knocked him out. That's the story. I can neither confirm or deny that story. But he was, he's just a towering man in the way he talked.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a nickname, did you have a nickname?
Oh yeah, he nicknamed everybody.
Yeah, what was your nickname?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
So I tell you mine. He nicknamed me Stumper Boy, and that's the way he said
What?
Stumpy Boy, because I was kind of short. But here, fast forward, and I'll tell you one more little story about Coach Lee. This was in my later years, right? Coach Lee was always a source, FCA. He's always a source of keeping you in check. Every time he saw me, he'd ask me how my relationship with God was. So here I was out of the Marine Corps, settled back in Marion, South Carolina, going to church on a regular basis. I was going to Marion Baptist, where I became a deacon a little bit later. But he saw me over in Dillon one day. Stumper Boy, where you going to church now? I said, well, Coach, I'm going to Marion Baptist. Yeah, good. That's good church. What the pastor name over there, Stumper Boy? He was testing me, right? Asked me what the pastor's name. I'd been going to church there. I was real involved. The pastor was one of my best friends. It was named Nabonet. But I couldn't think of his name to save my life. And I was sitting there and I was silent. He looked at me with them big eyes and says, I believe that pastor named Nabonet. He kept me in check, man. He was a man, one of my heroes, and he's thousands of people's heroes. The legend lives on today. Coach Bull Lee. Trent Johnson, look who that is. Yeah, that was little old you, I believe. Did you see?
Yeah, Trent
That
was
was little old
Trent.
Trent. He was in the video. I recognized him as a little kid. Zip, we'll stick with you and then go back to Jack Rock. And I want y'all to tell about other heroes, but more your father's stories. But you told a story about your dad, too, that tickled me to no end. And it was about a birthday party. You remember sharing that a little while
Oh
back?
yeah. We shared it a couple
Check
episodes
this out.
back.
Check this out, dude.
I guess I got stories like this all the time. The problem is I can't think of it on the spot. There's just too many of them. They're all jumbled in there. But as soon as something prompts it, it's like, oh yeah, we got that. But yeah, so one of the it might have been my 16th birthday. I got another 16th birthday story for you too. But 16th birthday, I invited all the friends out there. Back in the day, you could invite everybody, Roddy. Everybody comes to the house, everybody has a party, has a good time. It doesn't matter who it is. But yeah, so we got, I don't know, there's probably 30 guys out there, 30 young, strapping young men. We need to get a little yard work done is what happened. And so we come up with this game. Daddy comes up with this game like the morning of and gives it to me. And I'm like, Daddy, we can't do that. And anyway, so we halfway organize into two separate teams. And we get the game is we got 6 acres and we got pine trees. We live out in on Arnett Road in Dillon, South Carolina. 6 acres and we got pine trees and we got pine cones come from the pine trees and they fall down. And you can't really mow them because they're the huge pine cones. And so the game is which team can collect the most pine cones. And so what we did was we had 5 or 10 minutes to go get anything that we needed to get to be able to collect them, whether that's wheelbarrows and buckets and everything else. And so he set a timer and he said, ready, set, go. And you got 30 young men going out and
Cleaning the yard.
It's the fastest yard work you've ever seen done. I promise you. The greatest, the greatest yard work we've ever
That is
done.
so creative. It's so ingenious to me. He got a honey-do list, and he put the boys to work on his birthday, and they had a ball. They were having a great time.
That's it. Make it a competition, man. Make it a competition, and the young men will enjoy it. I will guarantee you that. But also, I talk about the 16th birthday. Daddy always had this line because we were, like I said, I was me and 3 younger brothers. We always thought we were bigger, and we had that rebel instinct in us, and who doesn't really, Rodney? But had that rebel instinct that we always thought we were big. I've been working out since I was in 9th grade. Ben's 6 foot, 220, 230. by the time he's in ninth grade, and so he's coming into himself too, and always wanting to try Daddy, and have been since we were 2 years old, and so Daddy said, whenever you turn 16, I'll give you a chance. I'll give you a chance at 16, and we would wrestle on and off on the way up there, but so 16th birthday, we go out in the front yard, and it's ready, set, go, and we're full on wrestling. Daddy's a big boy. Daddy's always been a big boy. Everybody knows that. He slimmed down more recently. Obviously, ages get to him, but me and him, we were going at it because I was in shape at 16. We were winning state championships on the football field, and anyway, we were right in the grass rolling around fighting. We probably a good 10 minutes, fighting back and forth. And he stops. He's on his hands. We're like tied up together in the pretzel. He stopped. He said, "All right, that's enough." And it was just worn out. We just worn out. Finally got to him. You get that point, and it's like, okay, I don't know if I could take a punch, but I know I could wear you out. And so that's what we did. We never had any too much trouble after that. I didn't. My brothers might have a little bit more than me, but.
Vicky down here, I'm talking about Coach Lee again. I mean, not only has he touched predominantly young men's life, but Camp Pound Hill, he had a significant impact on women as well.
Oh yeah, Camp Pound Hill too.
Daddy?
Yeah.
Did you ever try your daddy?
Maybe I shouldn't tell this, but anyway, since you asked that, I have a good story about Bull Lee. My daddy. What you said about Bull Lee teaching you, training you. I'll go ahead and tell that one. You reminded me of what my daddy taught me when my first thing that I remember my daddy taught me. One of the hangouts for the old people in Lakeview when I was a child growing up was at the police station in Lakeview. It was always full of men sitting around chairs talking. And my daddy was outside with a man talking, one of his friends talking one night, and I was with him. I was just a small child. And this man that was there with my father reached in his pocket and pulled $1 out and handed it to me. And I pushed his hand away and rejected that $1. I remember my daddy telling that man, said, "Will you excuse me and my son 1 minute?" He grabbed me by the hand and carried me behind that police station. And he told me, he said, "Son, you put this in your head and don't you never forget it. Don't you never embarrass me again in front of nobody. Anytime anybody ever offers you anything, and they think enough of you to offer it to you, don't you reject them, you take it." He said, "You hurt that man's feelings and you piss me off." And that was my first lesson my daddy ever taught me. And you reminded me of it, telling the Bull Lee story about always.
These lessons live, they live with you forever.
I want to expand on that a little bit because I had that, I don't want to take money that I don't feel like I deserve or anything. But a lot of times it's it needs to be looked at the perspective as if, you taking that, whatever it is, the $1 at that moment is accepting their gift, right? And them giving you the gift is what it is. But you rejecting that is them being, their gift being rejected. And so it's a denial of what they're attempting to give you. And so I think that's a good take. And, it took me a little while to figure that one out.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell one story about my dad. And it's a little bit unusual situation because my dad's not my biological dad, but it's the only dad I knew. And me and my mom and brother, a bunch of us lived on the farm with grandma and all. And then mom met dad. Dad was 18 years older than my mother. And when we moved to town, everything changed for us. That's Victor Berry there. That's my little brother, Richard, and that's our once a year vacation. That was the age I guess I moved in with Dad. But he was cut from a different cloth, probably like your dad. He was really hard, and it wasn't until later in our life that I realized that my dad really loved me. He never told me, but I look back now and he showed in numerous ways. I learned the word asinine from my dad because I was a hard-headed little kid, and he called me asinine, and I couldn't figure out what that word meant to save my life. but I deserved it probably. But he was very strict. Did they spare the rod in your house? Because Daddy, me and my brother, we cold got it, buddy. But it was done out of love. But we backer sticks, everything. We've got whooped with everything under the sun.
And they had homemade backer sticks back then. They didn't break easy.
Oh, backer sticks didn't break at all.
The question you asked me if me and my dad ever had any, let's say, wrestling matches, okay? Make it sound good. Because me and my oldest son, we spent hours tussling. But me and my dad never did because I guess he was so much older than me. But the only incursion we ever had fist-wise was, and I'm going to share this. You know how brothers and sisters are always fighting? Well, me and my oldest sister was always fighting. And one day she came in, she was older than me, and she could always whip me. Well, anyway, I growed up on her one day. She came in the kitchen, I was cooking an egg on the stove, just a kid now. And she said something, and I popped her upside the head, and she went squalling to her daddy. Jack hit me, and I peeled her good, too. And Daddy come in the kitchen while I was cooking that egg, and he said, "Did you hit your sister?" I didn't say nothing. I was cooking, because I knew better than to answer. I was cooking that egg. He said, I said, "Did you hit your sister?"
Yes, sir.
I kept cooking that egg. I didn't say nothing. And listen, boys, and my daddy was a well-built guy. He was tough as wheel leather. He took his fist and hit me side of my head about 10 times, just as hard as he could hit me. Well, I could hear the thunder, and I was seeing Tweety birds, and I kept cooking that egg, and I never moved, and he ain't never touched me again the rest of his life. I growed up on him.
Didn't have to, right? Because
I would have never, ever, the thought of ever raising my hand in anger toward my dad.
That was different what Zebney did. That was out of fun, and when they got on up in age.
Yeah,
like my dad,
it's a ritual, coming of age.
So my dad was so much older. I'll never forget when Mom, like I said, he was 18 years older than Mama. I remember asking Mama when we first moved in, I said, "Mama," and I was already called him Daddy. I said, "Mama, how old is Daddy?" She said, "He's 55. And I thought to myself, I said, "Oh, this man about to die." Here I am a lot older than that now. I was thinking 55 was so much older.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the age difference. Look, he was in total control. Never even crossed my mind to get physical. He was totally in charge, period. End of story.
I want to tell you a story about the weightlifting with my daddy. Well, you know them old country fellas don't know nothing about weightlifting. Well, I started dating my wife, Diane, girlfriend, and she was built. She was athletic director and all this stuff in the 4-year degree in athletics and stuff. She was built like a bodybuilder. Beautiful girl. And I got thinking, me, a little old skinny runt, she could whip my butt. So I got a set of weights and started working out. And my daddy hadn't seen me because I stayed home. I lived by myself on the farm. And I stayed home about 3 months by myself and worked out. Nobody seen me. And I eat, worked out. So I'd look good to my new girlfriend. So I show up at my daddy's house one day to talk to him. He said, "My goodness." He said, You working out weights or something?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, I got one thing to tell you." I said, "What is it, Daddy?" He said, "Anytime you see a man with a big one of them, he's got a little one of them." And he weren't lying, son. You got to be an idiot to work out with weights and jog and stuff. Really. I'm telling you, you got to be. He taught me something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, what about any other heroes come to mind? For me, it was always coaches. Coaches always played a pivotal point in my life. And so that was pretty much heroes and characters in my life. Anybody else come to mind, Zeb?
I've told Daddy stories so many times, and I got plenty of them. But Daddy, you talk about coaches. Daddy coached me specifically in football, but baseball and everything else, whatever else we were playing at the time. Basically in my entire life, all the way through high school. And I haven't told this story in a long time. I got two for you. Back in long time ago, what was it? The county fields. Do they even have the county fields anymore in Dillon?
Not that I know of.
Anyway, they we were doing 9 and 10 football, tackle football, and and I had braces on, like most kids in middle school do, or maybe it was 11 and 12. Maybe it was 11 and 12. I think it was 11 and 12. And Daddy's coaching, and we didn't have a fantastic team, just in general, but and young, 11, 12-year-olds are hard-headed, nobody listens, and we were running practice, and we were doing a scrimmage with another team, and we couldn't never gain any ground, and so Daddy would get mad at me, and he was always harder on me than everybody else, and that's probably how I'm going to be to my son, and that's really how it ought to be. But that being said, I think we ran 20 quarterback sneaks in a row. Quarterback sneak. And maybe it was a proof point. I don't even remember at this point. But at one point, I did something that I shouldn't have done, and he went to grab me by the face mask. You got to grab a hold of something. I do that now. You got to get a hold of him. Can't let him run away. Anyway, grabbed me by the face mask and pulled me in. But as he grabbed me, his fingernails kind of got a hold of the braces and ripped like 4 of the front braces off as he brought me in. Oh, God. And so I was braceless for a little bit, for like a week or so, because Daddy had grabbed me on the football field.
And he had to pay for those braces.
He did. He was paying for them. They were his braces, so we'll let that one slide. But yeah, no. I mean, it didn't hurt, but it was just a thing, It was an aggression thing that I don't. Maybe there isn't a lesson there because I can't remember it, but it just lends to this idea that Daddy was real hard on me, and even in that same time frame, we would be scrimmaging, a lot of ego going on when you're 11 to 12-year-old, especially with friends from school at the time, and I think it was Desmond Hayes was running his mouth on the other team. Shout out Desmond, we're good now, but we stopped. I think it was an actual game, like a scoring game, and we stopped and we started running. Are they Oklahoma drills where you blow the whistle, you get up and you tackle each other? We ran that because we were running our mouth back and forth. They're like, "All right, you two stop," and we just they ran that until one of us quit. But that's kind of the thing that it helps you grow character wise, but it also that's give you an idea of what that coach and dad aspect brings to it. I know there's a double dose. There's a lot of people out there that can relate to that. One that comes to mind is Earl Johnson and Kyle on the baseball field. So shout out those guys, Kelly and Coach Kelly and Kel. It all down the line. The dad relationship as a coach, I think, goes a long way in the development, right? Because you get both, you get two at one time, and it's just the overlap of time that comes from it.
No doubt. A lot of them are father figures to me. My father didn't coach football, but another one is Coach Chapman, who is a legend in Dillon. I mean, he was something else. But I'll never forget, we always wanted his approval on everything. He was kind of an idol to all of us. But one thing that tickled me that stood out on Fridays, right, game day, you couldn't be seen talking to a girl on Friday. He would pull you aside and dress you up and down. You had to be focused on what he'd get out there. I seen you talking to Mary Sue. Coaches were characters too, which we don't see that much any longer. But he was a legend. He had definitely.
You reminded me of Jewel McLaurin. How much people love Jewel McLaurin. I mean, when you say Jewel McLaurin, it just. The whole world opens up like a rose. Am I right or wrong?
You're 100%
I mean,
right.
It don't matter where I go, and I tell somebody I'm from Lakeview, South Carolina. Oh, Jewel McLaurin country.
He's a legend.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a quick story, and I'll be quick about this one. This is talk about characters back in the day. So Jewel McLaurin, Coach Chapman, Lakeview and Dillon coaches, they were all close, right? And I'll never forget a guy by the name of Carl Huggins. You remember that name?
Oh, yeah.
Carl Huggins, it was before the first game of the season, Dillon versus Lakeview. Now, we were touted to be the state champs.
Lion Huggins, his brother was a scout for the Denver Broncos.
And Lakeview was supposed to be state champions as well that year. I mean, and ultimately Lakeview was the best team in the state at 2A, better than any team in the state that year. But it was the game. It was the Thursday before the big game, Lakeview and Dillon. Carl Huggins calls me, says, Rodney, meet me outside. And I mean, these were older guys, right? I went outside and he said, look, we were playing cards last night with the Lakeview coaches, and I got this notebook, and I snuck it out. I want you to look at it. I looked at it and it says, Rodney Berry, living off last year's reputation. Run the ball at him.
That's disrespectful.
Then it said Ted Stevens, slowest quarterback in the state. That was my buddy. We went to PC together, right?
Yeah.
And so they played me like a toy.
They put it in there and planted it.
And Coach Chapman, they wrote all that.
Yeah.
And they knew I was going to get on the phone. I called all my buddies. Look what they said about you. Look what they said about you.
Yep.
I saw Jewel McLaurin. I finally told him this story about a month ago. I said, Jewel, let me tell you the story. I said, do you know anything about this? He laughed and he couldn't quit laughing. He said, I know nothing about that. You know? But that's great. It's characters, you know? It's just characters.
Coach Pate.
Coach Pate's not prior to McLaurin.
The inspiration that he had on kids. He had
so
that
many
rough
lives.
side to him, you know?
I mean, you know, coaches, they shape us.
Yeah.
And think of the importance of that when you don't have a father. You guys are sitting around here chomping at the bit to telling us a story about your dad. You got thousands of them. And when we leave here today, you're going to say, oh, man, I forgot to tell that one. Coaches fill that void, and they have to at times. Think about the kids that didn't have a father in the home. They don't have any of these stories, guys. You've been successful. He's been successful. You're going to continue to be successful. That's because you were brought up with a father that set the pace, taught you right from wrong, and how to go after things. There's so many absent of that today.
You talking about being successful. You made a thought come back to my mind what my daddy told me. I told my daddy one time that I was thinking about going in a certain business. And he said, well, why aren't you? Are you going to? I said, Daddy, I'm scared to death that I'm going to fail. He said, failure is not bad. Anybody that tries and fails is not a failure, he told me. He said that somebody don't try nothing is a failure.
Absolutely.
I won't never forget him telling me that.
Robbie Speed's got a good little story down there. And Robbie, one of the worst beatings me and my brother ever got from my dad. And again, we deserved it, and it was done out of love, I'm convinced. We were in a cucumber field, right? Supposed to be picking cucumbers. I mean, we worked like crazy. Daddy's truck was a diesel, so we could always hear it when it come around the corner. Well, he drove somebody else's truck one day, and we was throwing cucumbers at one another. He seen them cucumbers, and that's the backer stick story. He tore us up from one road to the next with a tobacco stick. Never forget that. Somebody shoot another story at me. Surely you ain't ran out of.
Well, I was talking about the father-son dynamic on the coaching aspect, but you know, Lonnie Parker, he wasn't coaching at that time. He was on the sidelines, but he was coaching from the sidelines. You know how it goes. But this was still at the rec fields, at the county fields, and Brent was Brent's Lonnie's son, but he was I don't know. We were running some play, and he had fallen and hurt himself, and so this is a ongoing thing. This isn't just an isolated incident. I think JB's a victim of this too. JB Pittman. You know, he's hurting himself. He said, "Get up, son. You got to get back in the game. Let's go play." And he's holding his arm, it ain't broke. It ain't broke. I'm a victim of this too. It ain't broke. And so we finish out the game. He goes to get an X-ray, and guess what, Rodney?
It's broken.
It's broken. It's broken.
How many concussions?
That Lonnie, Brent Parker, myself, JB Pittman. It's all we're playing. I think it was all football, and he said, "It ain't broke. It ain't brok."
Rub a little dirt on it.
Rub a little dirt on it. There it goes. Rub a little dirt on it.
Back in the day, that pure toughness existed. It's truly not like that today.
Talk about sports. You said think of one your dad told you. Let me tell you this. Y'all gonna love this one. I'll never forget. I flunked the 6th grade, and it was embarrassing to me. I flunked English, and I had a chance to go to summer school, and I went for a little while and quit. You know, just studying weren't the name of the game for me. But anyway, I flunked the 6th grade, and I told Daddy, I said, "Daddy, I have flunked the 6th grade." He said, well, good. You'll learn twice. I said, Daddy, what would you do if you was me and it's embarrassing when you go back next year? You going with the lower class. He said, just tell them I held you back a year for sports.
You could do that in the day. The people had mustaches back in the day.
Hey, I mean that's something that we're doing right now. I mean this year we're gonna hold. It's more so his birthday's in August 19th.
Late
His birthday's real well late or early birthday, how you see it. But we're gonna hold him back. He's always been mentally a little bit further than maybe he the average is, and so we kind of put him in school a little early, and so the women can get away, girls can get away with it because they mature faster than boys, and I'm not worried about him learning or anything, but the later dynamic, I think it's something like north of 80% of all professional athletes' birthdays fall on the back end of the year, just because of the extra growth that they have during high school is what it looks like. So I'm not saying he's going pro, but the maturity dynamic, it definitely comes into play from a male perspective, and I can vouch for that one, Rodney.
Guys, think about it. This is, to this point right here, think how strategic you are in your children's life. Again, back to my point, there are some kids out there that never get that. There's no dad being strategic about how he's being raised. I mean, they're set up for failure.
I'm still teaching my kids today.
Those stats, but somebody's still teaching you, I hope. Those stats we saw earlier, these victims of these stats, they didn't have dads like you.
Yeah.
I think a prime example of this.
What you guys, I mean, he's early on doing it now. You've done, you've raised children in those manners.
Now I got the grandkids,
which gives them a fighting chance.
I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I know Christian McCaffrey, he's huge now, but his dad was extremely strict on things like this, where back in high school, he wouldn't let him wear jeans to school on game day. He would wear joggers because he didn't want his legs to get tired. They would IV before the game. And so all this thought process of preparation or maintenance prior to the thing that is actually supposed to be showcased is, I think it's a heavy influence. And it takes someone that not necessarily has been there, but has at least observed it from a perspective to then endow on their sons. And it goes so far because you get a major advantage when it comes along.
I can't think of a more prime example. Can you imagine what kind of father Archie Manning was? Because look, those got Peyton, and they're not even really great athletes, but he's raised two have been Super Bowl champions, and then the young boy at Texas now that's been heralded as one of the best. I mean, think about that atmosphere.
Another example, y'all might not like him, but LeVar Ball is I don't know if you know him. LeVar Ball has he's got three sons. I think he played in the NFL, but his three sons are, or at least went to the NBA. Melo, Jello, and whatever the other one was, but he's done basically the same thing.
You can't deny that.
I think he even married his wife for the sole purpose of height to get them into the NBA. So
that's a bit much.
it is what it is. There's a lot that comes with it, but these are extremes when we think about it.
Look at what Jimmy Renfro did for his kids.
Absolutely, great example. And those guys,
let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something.
Hunter Renfro.
Jimmy Renfro. There ain't nobody else going to say this but
that
me.
whole lineage family.
But Jimmy Renfro was as wild. He come up with that wild generation before I was a kid riding a bicycle. I could name the names if you were from Lakeview, but he come up with that older generation, the juke joint crowd. Jimmy Renfro was a rough guy. But he settled down and raised a house full of wonderful kids.
So Jimmy Renfro, what's Timmy Renfro's relation to Jimmy? Is that
son?
So say Timmy Renfro is Hunter's daddy.
That's right.
Timmy Renfro was All-American football player and I think baseball player at Walford. He does FCA.
He won 2 state championships as quarterback at Lakeview with Coach
Good
Pate.
athletes, but I think more that what was passed on to them in terms of mentality.
Timmy was the oldest son.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I'm asking is, obviously I know who Hunter Renfro is and a little bit about his family, but was there anything that stuck out in their intentional development from the father or coach aspect of it
No.
that you can think of specifically?
I'll tell you one that, and you might not equate this to success, but just humbleness. I mean, they were head down, grind, humbleness, and you see that in Hunter now.
Absolutely.
His dad Timmy even more. I mean, even more so.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get him to say anything good about himself.
Their mother was like my mama, an angel. Their Florinette, their mother, the Renfro family's mother, Jimmy's wife, and Miss Isla Ford, her husband's name was Jesse Ford. They call him Goat Ford, high in politics and stuff. But she, the grandmother to these kids, was beyond, just like my mama, a pure angel. And then their mama came up under that same angel atmosphere. Just wonderful people, But now Jimmy was like me on that rough side of it.
Okay.
That's and it takes that.
Don't apologize for being a man.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to get him started now. Let's don't apologize for being men. Look, we're a little bit Neanderthal at times, and there's a rough edge to us, and that's okay. That's what we're made to be.
Yeah.
That the woman partner softens things up, and that's again what's missing in a quarter of the homes. That man, that discipline, that strength, is absent. There's a lot of value in that. A lot of value in the strength. Coach Gauld, he was a legend at PC. Robbie Speaks, he tunes in quite often. That was my roommate. We were both under the tutorage of Coach Kelly Gault, which also played a major factor in our life. Coach Gault was inducted in the Hall of Fame, just well respected all over. The matter of fact, Danny Ford, when he was in here, he talked about Coach Gault. Legend. Guys, we're gonna wrap up, but we got time for a few more stories if anything comes to mind. Jack Rock, with your daddy being a politician, y'all had a lot of people coming to the house and or not so much back then. Politics back then is a little bit different than today.
I don't, there weren't a whole lot of traffic up our driveway. My daddy never had a telephone. Probably the only senator in the history of South Carolina didn't have a telephone. Mm-hmm. But people, when they needed something, he was always,
Steve Ivy just chimed in about this.
Jamie was the oldest son.
James Stevie Williams, and then Timmy,
Jimmy Ford's daddy was like one of my second dads. He was a cop uptown in Lakeview. He kept us straight. Him and Stevie Ivy's daddy, the chief of police. It was like Mayberry. All us boys growing up, and Zip and Cortez. It was, and Jimmy and Steve knows what I'm talking about.
So, guys, we were all raised, and a lot of our audience are going to know this. We got a few people from out there a little ways, but Dillon County couldn't be a better place to raise. You hear the common cliche that it takes a village. It did for us. We were blessed to be raised in rural South Carolina. When, for instance, your mama was one of my best friends in high school. We're going to look after our own. We'll even correct our own. There were characters back then, and we were really blessed to be raised in Dillon County.
Yeah.
Because there's a mindset.
Yeah.
You're going to do it right. There's going to be a whole lot of foolishness. My daddy didn't like foolishness.
Question for you, since we hadn't got on anything spiritual today. I'm going to ask you guys and the people out in the audience. When the second coming happens and Jesus sets up his kingdom here on earth, second heaven, okay, you with me so far? Mm-hmm. Is he going to let us live in Dillon County?
Is he?
Is he going to let me live in Lakeview where I'm at now?
Is he?
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Have you ever thought about it?
No, well, not really.
Do you get to choose where you're going to live at?
Yeah, he's prepared a place for me.
Yeah. Yeah, but I want us to be together forever.
I'm hoping he'll separate me and you up in heaven.
That ain't funny, boy.
I want to be on the other side of the tracks in heaven from you.
That
Okay,
ain't funny, boy.
you come visit, but I want you on the other side of the tracks. What's your last word, Zeb?
I don't know. I got a lot of words in today, so I'll let y'all take it out.
Well, the future of this podcast is kind of up in the air. Our man's moving here, and this, what I've called the state of the art studio that we reside in at the moment, probably the best in Florence. Well, in the PD, if you want to know the truth. And look, I've done a lot of stuff at the TV stations, and this rivals anything that you'll even see at a network.
What atmosphere is good?
Yeah. Well, everything. I mean, the equipment, I mean, he's just done a yeoman's job. And so this might not exist moving forward. It's kind of up in the air. But, man, should this be the last podcast, and we may do a few more, and we may continue. We're not sure yet. But on the premise that it may be the last, we sure appreciate you inviting us in, Zeb. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll continue. I don't want to alert anybody, but
I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it for sure.
well, we let our head. We say we're the front porch of the weekend. We've talked a little bit about serious stuff, but for the most part, it's been three hammerheads, knuckleheads, just shooting the bull, and we've always been friends. But I think that we have got closer over these past couple months in the Lions Den.
Did we do this podcast about the father character theme because of Father's Day?
Not
more or
really,
less?
not really, but
Okay.
it happened to go
I
on.
know that
Rodney wanted
Zeb-
some more stories about my daddy. So I think that's what.
I
it
know
was.
Zeb come up with that.
Dude, I got so many.
Because that was hilarious, man. That was just genius about the pine cones picking up for a birthday party.
But I want to finish off with this, okay, before we close.
Well, we're not closing right yet.
Okay.
Hold that thought. Because your daughter just turned in. Just turned in. I like that shirt, Daddy. It's not a shirt, Tamara. It's a blouse.
It's a blouse.
A blouse.
It is so old that it's falling apart, really.
Jimmy Ford, we're glad you love
Those
it,
are-
man. We
those are-
appreciate you tuning in. We've enjoyed seeing you.
Those are the best ones, though. They're so comfortable.
What, the
The
blouse?
ones that are falling apart. No, the
Oh,
old
yeah.
shirts that are falling apart.
Yeah.
I got a couple of them. I won't throw them away.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wear the same.
They're not blouses, though. They're shirts.
I got, I probably indulge a little too much in clothes, but I end up wearing the same pieces of clothes over and over and over. It's funny how you do that, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a part of you. It's a little bit of an identity, right?
His daughter's trying to dress him up. She said it's not skin tight. Hey, I can't believe he's not showing. I've labeled these guys beard and biceps. Now he's showing the guns
Hold
today,
on,
but
she's saying I like it. It's not skin tight. I made Jack button the shirt before we went live.
Yeah, it was down
wasn't
here.
even buttoned.
It
He
was
just
down
had
here.
it tied down here.
He was jealous of my pecs.
and I said, great day, boy, you got a hairy chest. He said, I ain't got no hair on my chest. I'm mistaken the beard. He's got 3 beards there. And I thought the middle beard was his hair chest.
Just a knob ball. Go ahead and say it. Oh, boy.
All right, final word, Jack Rock.
Okay, final word is we covered not everything about our fathers because it would never end. But I want to relate. I was talking about the Renfro family, the mother and the grandmother and all, how close to angels they were to me growing up, me knowing them. But my mother stayed at home her whole life, my whole life. I never known her to leave, stayed at home. She was like a soft-spoken angel. I asked Daddy one time, how could you get a woman like you and a man like you and end up with a child like me? I mean, my mama was as close to an angel as you could possibly get. And the reason I wanted to say that is we talked about men, fathers and all, but females stay on my mind so much, the contribution that they gave to Jesus Christ while he was on earth. They never ran. They stuck with him all the way, and I just want to throw that in there for the females.
Yeah, good word. And to that point, I've got a very soft spot for the single moms out there that do it all on their own with limited funds. on and on. I mean,
These fatherless
men step
children,
up.
the grandmothers raising them. There's some
People wanna
horror stories out there.
People want to know, what does it take to turn this country around? Very simple. You, dad, stay in that family, raise your children. Don't go off gallivanting, just like the example you guys are setting, just like the example you had set for you. Likewise, I had set for me. Zev, did you come up with anything before we close out?
Yeah, I mean, I guess to bring it all home is that, we talk a lot about our fathers, and that's, one of the greatest blessings that we can have is to be a father and be present. And, we are all fathers here, and, hopefully there's a lot of struggle stories here. We laugh about it, but that's what it is. That's where the laugh comes from, is it was so much struggle, but we grow from it. We grew from it. And, I would like to be, I look up to my dad as a father, and I would like to be much of a father like he was to my sons in the same way. And I talked about the pinned tweet that I have on my Twitter. I think it also says, oh man, I'm blanking right now, but it says, let me read it so I don't mess it up. It's worth a half a second wait.
Sure.
It says, what more could you want for your son than to say he's me, but better? And I think that's where a lot of it should come from, is that there's a personal attribute to make yourself better. And if you're not in the mindset that you would like your son to be like you in some aspect, then I think you should probably have a little retrospective or introspective aspect to say, hey, why do I not?
Yeah.
Why do I not?
Yeah.
Me, but better is kind of where I want to take him.
Good point. There's nothing I would not do for my son. Nothing in the world. I want him better than me. I think he's accomplishing that. So, folks, we thank you for joining in. As we say, we are the front porch of the weekend. Hope we're going to escort you out. Hope you have a great weekend. Look, hang on to those heroes and characters in your life. I mean, they're dwindling, but we can bring it back. We truly can, folks. Enjoy, y'all. We'll see you next time, hopefully next week on the Lions Den. Have a great weekend.
Welcome to the Lions Den. Grab a seat and join the conversation. Let's dive in.